Good morning, Board and Superintendent Dr. Faust. This presentation is to keep our district informed of current actions and laws regarding religion in schools. I've applied 3 artifacts in the making of this presentation. First, I referenced the 2019 Pew Report on Religion in Public Schools. Second, I included the Department of Education's guidance on constitutionally protected prayer and religious expression in elementary and secondary education. And lastly, I included the NPR article, Trump Defends School Prayer. So I'm going to start with the 2019 Pew Report. This is a list of things that schools can and can't do. So in the Pew Report, I did find a series of items which schools, students, and teachers could and could not do in regard to religion in public schools. I divided my findings between 3 slides. For school, here you can see that I have a can column and a cannot column. So some of the things that schools can do is schools can have school-sanctioned moments for silence. That is totally fine. It's when people have school-sanctioned moments for silence or prayer, and because it includes prayer, that would not be okay. The pledge is okay in some schools, but not in others. The pledge is one of the items that was not very objectively voted on in different parts of cities and different states, and have very different views on this. So it really just depends on where you're at. The theory of evolution is okay to be taught in schools, but not intelligent design. That is not okay. Holiday music programs are okay if there is a predominance of secular considerations, and holiday decorations are okay as long as they are culturally plural. Religious groups have equal access to meeting spaces based on free space, or this Free Speech Act. Some of the things that schools cannot do. Schools cannot have school-sponsored prayers. That is not allowed. And to push this element even further, even voluntary participation prayers led by schools and teachers, prayers / meditation times and posters of the 10 Commandments are not allowed. So the students they can pray, but schools cannot sponsor these events. No religious-based classes in schools. No holiday music programs that are not predominantly secular. That would not be okay. In the Pew Report 2019, they also listed what students could or couldn't do. Students can leave school for religious activities. Students can practice free expression unless it invades the rights of others. Parents can opt their children out of classes if it interferes with their religious beliefs, and also out of dress codes. So if somebody wears a hijab, for example, and that wouldn't be dress code, then they would still be allowed to wear it. Students can't harass or compel other students to participate in religious expression. And this was found in the Department of Education, but students are allowed to distribute religious materials like any other non-religious materials, as long as they do it like any other non-religious materials. Lastly, for the 2019 Pew Report, teachers can practice religion freely outside of school. Teachers and students are free to practice their religions in school. Teachers at school, teachers can answer questions about their religion if asked and wear clothing that may be religious, such as crosses. Things that teachers could not do. Teachers can't have religious posters on classroom walls or personal religious books on student bookshelves. A representative of public schools, which would be teachers are representatives of public schools, cannot practice religion at school as freely as the general public. And also, teachers cannot lead their classes in prayer, readings, or other religious activities as per the Department of Education. So one of the items that I wanted to specifically address is where the Department of Education stands on this issue. The Department of Education guidance on constitutionally protected prayer and religious expression in elementary and secondary schools did cover this. So the Department of Education supports protected prayer and religious expression in schools. According to the article, and this is listed here, according to the article, states and educational agencies, so SEAs, must send the Secretary a list of those local educational agencies, LEAs, that have not filed the required certifications or that have been the subject of a complaint to the state educational agency, alleging that the local educational agency has a policy that prevents or otherwise denies participation in constitutionally protected prayer in public schools and secondary schools. So this shows that the Department of Education wants state agencies to file paperwork for accountability purposes in regard to protected prayer in schools. And the article also says that the General Education Provisions Act also authorizes the Secretary to bring enforcement actions against recipients of federal educational funds that are not in compliance with the laws. Such measures include withholding funds that until the recipient comes into compliance. So to me, this shows that the department is withholding funds from state and local agencies, so that would be us, that do not comply. The Department of Education is clear in wanting to hold states and local educational agencies accountable when these rights are not protected or monitored. We can see this because they are withholding funding. The department does clarify what is defined as protected prayer and expression. So the article says, there is a crucial difference between government speech endorsing religion, which the Establishment Clause forbids, and private speech endorsing religion, which the Free Speech and Free Exercise Clauses protect. This definition follows our first article, the Pew Report. Okay, and lastly, I reviewed the NPR's Trump Defends Prayer in School. So I think that it's important as a district we understand that where the federal government stands on this issue and where the president stands. Trump has voiced his philosophy and throughout his term has taken action on the issue as well. And I feel like this is really important for us to pay attention to. So the current administration strongly supports protected prayer and religious expression in school. The writer shows this in several talking points throughout the article. First, President Trump warns school administrations they risk losing federal funding if they violate their students' religious rights and freedom of expression. Trump held an event in the Oval Office with a group of Christians, Jews, and Muslim students and teachers to commemorate National Religious Freedom Day. That's a pretty big thing. And the administration also plans to streamline and mandate a federal complaint process that students can use to alert authorities when they've been discriminated upon. After reviewing these artifacts, I think it's clear as a district, we need to make sure that we're following all laws and mandates regarding protected prayer and freedom of expression for students, teachers, and for our district. We need to be vigilant of funding risks that may affect us and what our current federal administration will support. Thank you for listening and for giving me this opportunity to help my district stay informed.